You know what's kind of ironic? I see a lot of people reacting in an extreme way to a movie that is very much a cautionary tale about extremism. Proof that some people want their entertainment to be a reflection of real life, or at least how they perceive real life, yet for some reason they refuse to learn anything from those reflections. Let's discuss.
I watch so you don't have to.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
So one battle after another topped the weekend box office with a $22 million domestic haul and a $48.5 million global haul. Some will call this a flop due to its $180 million budget, and others will call it respectable. As always, I prefer the wait-and-see approach because first week numbers rarely tell the whole story. If I had to guess, I would say that it doesn't feel like the type of movie that's going to have legs at the box office. But if legitimate word of mouth is strong enough, I guess anything is possible.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
For anyone who watched my review, you know that I was as balanced and fair as I possibly could have been with this movie. I gave the film credit for its filmmaking attributes while also pointing out that its subject matter and messages might not be for everyone. Now, if you looked elsewhere on the internet when it comes to social media or other reviews or even the comments section of my own video, there are clearly a lot of overreactions and divisiveness when it comes to conversations around this movie. And I expected that. I knew as soon as I saw this movie and as soon as I was mapping out my review, that conversations around it would probably take a turn for the worst. As I talked about in my review, I saw a lot of people talking about how this was the best film of the year, and maybe even the best film of the decade so far. And while I'm not on that hype train, I do understand those reactions to a degree. But in order to give it that kind of praise, the movie needs to be some kind of life-changing experience, and I just didn't get that. Do I think that some people are overdoing it and desperately trying to convince other people that this movie is more than what it is? Because of some kind of political bias in the reactors themselves? Absolutely. Do I also think that there are a ton of people who would never give this film a chance and had their mind made up that it's propaganda without even watching it? Absolutely. The overreactions, the extreme reactions, are coming from both sides of the aisle. And it's bound to happen in this hypersensitive, politically obsessed society that we find ourselves in. For me, when I sit down to watch a movie, I have to block all of that out and judge the movie on its own merits, and that's exactly what I did.
It's true.
But there are very few people nowadays who are actually capable of doing that. And that's not a knock on those people. I mean, they all have their reasons for feeling the way that they do. For me, it's just a movie, and I'm not going to watch it and then go on Twitter right after it and say, well, Leo's character was a cuck loser and political terrorist, so how can I possibly get invested in it? Meanwhile, I actually watched the movie, and I have to ask the question, is someone really a cuck loser when they step up to take care of their daughter after their baby mama walks out on them? Are they glorifying his actions as a revolutionary when they clearly are showing him experiencing very personal consequences, as he desperately tries to save his daughter, who is now being punished for his actions? That doesn't sound like the idealistic or virtuistic situation for a father to be in, now does it? Again, it sounds like a cautionary tale when it comes to extremism, but you would only know that if you were willing to watch the film and give it a chance.
Man, I'm tired of being right.
On the flip side of things, we have people idolizing and fawning over Leo's character, like this person, the appropriately named largest rodent, who says, quote, Bob Ferguson, Leo's character, loves black women, protects immigrants, respects pronouns, speaks a little Spanish, and derides land acknowledgements. You need to be as woke as he is. And I would kindly have to ask this person, did you watch the same movie that I did? While some of those things are true, I would have to argue that Bob Ferguson isn't as woke, whatever the that means, as this person is suggesting. I think there are some people who are watching this movie and seeing what they want to see, and I know that because it's a common practice online every single day. Did Bob Ferguson not call someone a liberal asshole when he was on the phone with them in the film? Did he not call the same person a
Everybody knows you never go full retard.
Did he not call his progressive daughter's friends freaks after pretending to care about their pronouns? I think some people will latch on to the surface level things in a movie and completely ignore the details. Bob Ferguson as a character, among other things, was a commentary on the extreme nature of modern liberalism. And I think some people are taking him at face value only and probably missing the point. And this is what I meant when I said there are shades of gray in this movie if you are willing to see them. To take things a step further, I came across this article from The Guardian that really beats home the idea that if the goal was to pander with this movie, that you can never pander enough for some people. This person apparently took issue with the film's depiction of black women, with the headline that reads, Jezebels, Race Kink, and Cardi B. In one battle after another, black women are still stereotypes. Now I have to admit I didn't see a headline like this coming, although I should have. If you remember in my review, I alluded to the idea that some people are going to find Teyana Taylor's character empowering. And I said that because I know how people's minds operate now, and being an unlikable human being from a moral sense tends to inspire some people for some reason. But now we have a situation where some people are taking issue with this character because in their eyes it's an attack on an entire race of women.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
They are taking one character out of a movie full of characters and talking about stereotypes, completely ignoring the fact that Chase Infinity's character and Regina Hall's character are not depicted in that way at all. But this is what people do. They take one aspect of whatever it is you are putting out there and they try to build a narrative around it. This article actually goes out of its way to call Chase Infinity's character white simply because she is of mixed descent, ignoring at least half of her genetic makeup, all in an effort to prove a half-assed point. The article talks about how Teyana Taylor's character is hypersexualized, and how her character arc of being jealous of her newborn baby is problematic, and how the film should have prioritized her commitment to the cause as the real and only reason for her leaving her family. I just want to point out that neither of those things are a valid reason to abandon a child, and the fact that this person who wrote this article is trying to justify one of them says a lot. And I have to ask the question again, did this person watch the same movie that I did? Her commitment to her cause is the real reason why she doesn't have a relationship with her family by the end of the film. Being jealous of her newborn child felt like a byproduct of that, and her somewhat selfish obsession with being the center of attention and at the forefront of her movement. Why not look at this character and then think to yourself, hey, why not prioritize love and family over everything else, instead of looking at the character and taking issue with how they were depicted? And this is the problem. A lot of people seek validation over knowledge and meaning, and it has caused a lot of people to be media illiterate.
Why are you the way that you are?
As I've said many times at this point, do I agree with everything in this movie? No. But the truth is that I do not have to. I do not need my own thoughts and beliefs echoed back to me in a film in order for me to find some level of enjoyment in it. Now, I think PTA opened himself up to a lot of this because of the subject matter he chose to make this movie about and the times in which he chose to make it. But if this is in fact the movie that he wanted to make, who am I or anyone else to tell him differently? I think he is an accomplished and talented director who has a lot to say creatively, which is more than I can say for most people in Hollywood right now. And more than anything else, what I want from the film industry is for creatives to have the freedom to tell the stories that they want to tell, regardless of how that makes certain people feel, and that's myself included. Inspiring people to think while watching movies is kind of a lost art at this point. And I say again, one battle after another, despite its flaws from my perspective, isn't as cut and dry as some people are making it out to be.
Y'all be cool. Right on.